What Clinton experienced in the battlefield haunted him for a long time in his life.
The IEDs are not quite something that you can easily forget, or even the ambushes that happen at the camps. They could even blow the walls of the camp and fire the camp.
For close to 6 years, Clinton served in different capacities at the Kenya Defense Forces until things took a turn.
I woke up normally, going to step on the ground. I fell, and I didn't understand why. I thought I tripped, but the strength from my legs downwards, it was gone completely. That's when I now called my wife and told her I cannot walk.
From losing his ability to walk to battling different mental illnesses, he felt pushed to the limit.
At the time that I got dismissed from the service, I had to leave the wheelchair at the camp, and I had clutches. They gave me clutches, so I had to manage. I had to teach myself to use the clutches.
This is Clinton Mulwa's path to recovery as he narrates how God transformed his life when all hope was lost.
For me, it worked when I spoke to God, I can say that. So we may not get the best of results talking to somebody, but if you give everything to God and to speak to God and you connect with His word, then definitely there's going to be a breakthrough.
After an hour's drive from our offices in Nairobi, we arrived in Njiro. This is where we met former Kenya Defense Forces soldier Clinton Mulwa. He reflects on a rather normal upbringing despite being the only child.
I was born in Kasarani, Nairobi, and I am the only child and I was brought up by a single mother. But now, home ground where we call up country is Kitui County, somewhere called Kwavonza. I went to school called Kitui SDA Primary. It's a Seventh-day Adventist school. I studied there up to class 8. After completing class 8, the school also has the side of high school, and I joined the high school there and then did my Form 4. I didn't join any college or university. After 1 year, that's when I was enrolled in the KDF. I can say part of my life, I've been in school, because I've been in school since class 4, that is boarding school, till Form 4. And I can say most of my life I've been with friends. And spiritually, I can say that since I started in a Seventh-day school, I grew in a well-founded Christianhood.
A year after finishing high school, he was enlisted to the Kenya Defense Forces, went through training, and was ready for his first assignment.
I was posted to Gilgil barracks, that is 5 Kenya rifles. And within the first year, I underwent something we call an induction course. And then from there, I was deployed to Wajir County. That's where, that was my, I can say that was my first mission or deployment. Now from Wajir, that was 2018. 2019, I joined Somalia. We were deployed now to Somalia. I was at somewhere called Billy's Kokani. that is, or in short, BQ. Yeah, and I saw, we did an operation there for 1 year. Yes, and we had several encounters of IEDs and several encounters with the Al-Shabaab. Yeah, but God saw us through within the year, and we came back safe and sound. Normally, the IEDs are not quite something that you can easily forget, or even the ambushes that happen at the camps. You know, at times during the evenings, they could even blow the walls of the camp and fire the camp. So those memories are not easy to forget.
Charles is Clinton's friend for many years and has been a key part of his life since childhood.
We had a chama with our mom. Hapa ndo tulijuana na Clinton. By that time Clinton alikuwa shule primary. Tukijuana na mama yake. So ile harakati ya kutembea, kuvisit mamu yake, hivyo tu vile tu watu wanaenda tu round. Hapo ndo nilijuana na Clinton. Hadi akiwa high school amalize na join military. Akiwa job bado tulikuwa tunaongea through phone. Tunajuliana hali. Nakuja tu ananitembelea. But wakati alienda Somalia hapa tulipoteleana kiasi.
After 1 year in Somalia, Clinton came back to Kenya and decided to pursue a course to help him go up the ranks in the military.
I joined a course called military police. I did that for 6 months. 6 months here at Embakasi. And after 6 months, I was posted to DOD. I stayed there for 1 year. And from there now, I was taken back to Gilgil. The cause of me going back to Gilgil, it was not on my favor. And that's where I can say my journey of depression started. Doing a course that I undertook of military police, I can say you do that at least to go up career-wise, to grow up career-wise. So for me, going there, it was somehow a demotion for me, and it was not easy for me to handle. So I started even getting into so much alcohol, so much the stress, and then depression kicked in, and I knew I was in depression when I could not feel safe handling a weapon. Yes, because I remember at one time I sat on my bed at the camp with a weapon on my side, and I was thinking, why should I not just end this?
Clinton and his partner had great plans at the time, but with his struggles mentally, it was not clear how they would move forward.
We met at Gilgil. We trained together, though I didn't know her during the training. We came to know each other where we were posted in Gilgil. Yeah, so we dated since late 2017 until 2020, when we had our first child. Yes, and also, you know, the part of us being both in the military, it's quite a challenge because there's nobody at home most of the time. So we had plans for one of us to one day find another career outside and quit the military at least. You know, even in the military, we have pillars of training, and I know pillar number 5 says that there's resettlement after job, after work. You have to resettle. Yeah, so this was not the way that I planned to quit the military. This was, for me, it came fast. It came in unexpected, yes. And my wife was okay with it at the moment, until now. I could no longer maybe provide. I could no longer pay house rent and all that. That's when now things started getting tough. And I started even breaking things at home, glasses and all that.
Having quit the military on his own accord, he ventured into business to try and make ends meet, but it was all in vain.
I had a car, and I tried to do car hire business, and this business failed. Now that I am not even able to pay the loan that I had for the car, it was repossessed by the bank. Yeah, so no business went through for me. Yeah, no hustle went well for me. She tried her best. I can say she tried her best, and but now I believe we are human. So it reached a point where she now started to get tired. Financially, we are not okay. And now my mental health is not also okay. So there was fear in the house of how now do we handle this. Now we reached a point where we had to share with our mother-in-law. That is her mom. She had to take our son away for a while. And now we couldn't afford therapy. So I can say I really now got deeper into now real depression. I could even sleep and don't care about anything.
To make matters worse, Clinton would one day wake up having lost his ability to walk.
It was an evening. I tried to go and get a meal for the night. So while walking down the stairs, I couldn't feel my legs anymore. I couldn't feel the strength that you feel as a normal person. But I went and got a meal. Now coming back and going upstairs, I got exhausted on the way. But I pushed myself to the house, and when I reached at the house, I was so exhausted that I didn't even cook my meal, so I slept. Now the following morning, I woke up normally, going to step on the ground. I fell, and I didn't understand why. I thought I tripped, but the strength from my legs downwards, it was gone completely. So I was waking up to go to the loo, but I couldn't reach at the loo. Yeah. So the loo had to happen on the floor. Yeah, but that's when I now called my wife and told her I cannot walk.
Clinton's wife left work and came home. She helped him to hospital, but it was not easy considering Clinton had not been reporting to work.
I was worried, wow, now how do I get treated? What kind of problem is this? So that's the moment when I told her now, because I can still be treated at work, even though I've been absent. She was so scared. How do we now go back and tell them what we've been through and what has happened to you? I told her, let's go. I remember I even left my job ID at the camp, so there's no way I could access the camp. But I went and proved that I was on the outside and all that. So I can say God, luckily I was admitted. And that's when on my admission, I was diagnosed with a condition called GBS.
Guillain Barre Syndrome is a very rare and serious condition that affects the nerves. It mainly affects the feet, hands, and limbs. For Clinton, knowing this came with more devastating revelations.
The moment now I knew now I cannot walk again. My depression is still going up. So I was again diagnosed with major depression disorder, post-traumatic disorder, that is PTSD, and anxiety disorder. Yes. I was put under medication, under counseling, and I can say they even tried to get hold of my family, because at the moment now my wife too had her own challenges. I can say this was too much for her probably. So now at the hospital I started improving. My legs started improving, and under medication of depression too. I can say through the therapies, I started getting well.
Even though Clinton was making good progress, this was short-lived, as he still had a case to answer for deserting the Kenya Defence Forces.
Even after the doctor's recommendation, I was put in cell. And now this crushed everything, every improvement of my recovery. I tried pleading with them. I tried to. I remember I even talked to a religious leader to try to talk to my commander, but it was all in vain. My hygiene, the way I used to even go to the loo, it was not a decent way for me. Yeah. And that is where I felt now. I remember I even thought of bringing in a lawyer, but how do you afford a lawyer to handle the military mostly? So for me, being in a cell under that condition, it was the worst thing that has ever happened to me. Yeah. And at this time, I remember most of my family members knew, and my wife too knew, but I got no visitor.
We are living in a lost and broken world, constantly bombarded by messages of hate and atrocities. But with God, we can overcome. Find hope and restoration on the go through life-changing shows on the Family Media app.
And then you will lose yourself and gain the world. And Jesus said, what good is it?
Get to stream Family TV and Family Radio 316 straight from your phone. Catch up on a show you missed or create video streaming playlists by saving and watching videos from our huge variety of shows at your own convenience. Download the Family Media app, available for all Android and iOS users on the Google Play Store and Apple Store respectively. Family Media, keeping Jesus on the airwaves.
Now locked up with no one looking out for him, all hope was lost for Clinton.
I was really planning on now to just do away with life. Yeah. But I don't know, God prevented this over and over very many times. Because one, they took the drugs away from me. And the moment I knew I am going into the cell, that was my only way to take away my life. The drugs that I was at, and just take all of them, but they took them all. So God tried to prevent this so many times. Yeah. And when it reached a point where now I have been dismissed from the service, again that demoralized me completely. So funny enough, when I came back home, my wife was just okay. She was just okay. Things were normal again. And that is when I now started getting into being religious, like talking to God and asking God so many questions as to why would I go through this? Why would this happen to me?
Clinton reached out to his friend, Charles, who became a close confidant.
Mostly tulikuwa tunaingia tu kwa Biblia. Kwa nakumbuka story ya Jacob. Tuliongelea sana. Hiyo nilikuwa tu na encourage yenye anapitia. Although ni mangumu, sikutaka kumwonyesha kama ni mangumu. So nikilelate na vile Jacob aliyapitia. Kamwambia yako hata ni shadow. Jipe moyo. Mungu ako na wewe. Nikijaribu kuona kama hii mambo ya job inampea pressure. Mwambia Mungu alikuwa na reason. Hiyo happen. Labda kuna ile kitu amekupangia in your life na angeifanya ukiwa huko. So lazima hii ilikuwa ikuje ndio I create that space for chenye sasa anataka ukue. So out of that tukawa tu tunaimizana, tunaliana kwa neno.
As this was going on, Clinton confided in Charles that he needed help.
Alinipigia akiniuliza kama huko anaweza pata nyumba, either one bedroom or a bed sitter. Nataka kuhamia pande hii. Nione kama atamalizia hii nyumba akiwa karibu. Kuna yenye nilipata tu hapa juu, nikamwambia ni 6,500. Na kulingana na uwezo yenye alikuwa nao, ni kama aliona hata manage. Hapa tu akanyamaza. Kakakaa for about 1 month, akanipigia tena. Akaniambia nataka akuje tuongee. Cause kuna kabeti nilikuwa nimejenga tu pale mwisho. But sikuwa nimemalizia. Akaniambia room yako nataka nikuje tuongee. Nikamwambia kuja tu, niko available. Akakuja na wife wake. Bibi yangu alikuwa tu hapa kwa neighbor. Walikuwa na chama hii ya wamama. Ile tu alikuja nikamuita. Nikamwambia tuko na wageni, Lindo na bibi yake. Walikuwa wanataka do request kama tunaweza wapea hiyo room wakayapo wakimalizia hii yao. So vile bibi yangu alikuja hakukataa, ambaye ina shida ile kitu iko haijafanywa finishing na hatuna pesa ya kumalizia.
So we moved to my friend's house with her and my son. But now when looking on the life we were living, when everything was okay and moving now to a friend's house, we cannot afford this and this. This is when now she was heartbroken and left. Yes, this is when she left. She left with our son. And I can say it's a year since I saw my son.
Losing everything in that instance was devastating for Clinton.
This is where I started even having now panic attacks, palpitations, getting tired, sleepy, exhausted all the time. My body was weak all the time. Yeah. So what I was battling majorly on my mind was I have lost entirely everything that I had in life. I only have life, and now God showed me life belongs to him.
Matumaini yake alikuwa ameweka kwa bibi yake, because wamekuwa tu wakisupportiana na vile sasa alikuja akaona ni kama imekuwa burden. Sasa ilimwacha ni kama sasa ameachwa upweke, akiangalia upande wa nyumbani maongozi wake wenye tu angewategemea, no support. So akaona sasa ni kama kila mtu amemwacha, hadi Mungu ni kama amemwacha ajibu maombi yake. So ilikuwa na kibarua, hata ilikuwa na reach time na niambia Bwana Mungu kwae anataka nifanye aje ndio ajibu maombi yangu. Hakuna ile kitu sijafanya, hata kupiga magoti nimepiga magoti, nimeomba usiku yote, nifanye nini? Kamwambia tu tulia na ngojea, Mungu ako na good plans na wewe na familia yako. Na vile tu bibi unaona ameenda, labda Mungu alikuwa tu anataka kukusomesha lessons saa ile uko peke yako.
Despite all that was happening, Clinton remained steadfast that he would regain his ability to walk again.
At the time that I got dismissed from the service, I had to leave the wheelchair at the camp, and I had clutches. They gave me clutches, so I had to manage. I had to teach myself to use the clutches. And I came at home, and I remember even bathing for me was a problem, and also going to the loo and all that. If the loo, I cannot go on a low level, I have to use the sitting one.
Kwanza tukitembea akiwa na hizo crutches, ilifika mahali nikamwambia, kwanza hii nitaificha, sitaki kuona ukitembea nayo. Angeweza kupanda ka step kadogo, lakini wakati sasa nilimwambia hata ukiwa na ile imani tu, hata hii unatembea bila hii. Tukitembea kidogo namwambia hii acha kwa nyumba, tupike tu lap turudi. Kama kuna mahali anahitaji support yangu, namshika mkono tunafuka. Kama kuna mahali kuna namsupport. Kwa hivyo tumekuwa tukijengana na kiimani.
As his faith grew stronger, Clinton recounts an encounter with family TV that helped him grow spiritually.
What really encouraged me and what really made me even push myself harder now to start seeing the goodness of life is when I started watching family TV. I don't want to... I can say that is what has been part and parcel of my daily life. Yes. So I watched all the shows, and now I started getting deep into knowing God more. Yeah, and I realized that he loves me so much that I don't have to feel alone.
Clinton is keen on reconnecting with his son and emphasizes that he does not intend to pursue another relationship.
My son mostly, he tells them that he wants to speak to me, and he calls several. I to check up on him, and through the grandmother. So I remember a time came when my wife checked up on me and told me that she has realized that we need to work things out. And I think she was just checking in on how I am doing. And when she found that I'm still struggling, she chose to not go back to herself and say, no, this was a mistake. And I am not the kind of person that I wanted to have a trail of different kids from different people. No. I clearly know what marriage entails, and just a few failures in life don't make me less of a father. Yeah, and so I am hoping for the best, and I can say my son is my motivation to some point.
Clinton is now rebuilding his life slowly and looks to go back to school to learn psychology so as to use his testimony to help others.
I asked myself, what do I have at hand? And luckily enough, I had some of my investments. So I used one of my investments to move my life forward, to get myself a home, yeah, which I can say, if I look at my lineage, there's this thing of, I can say, I can call it maybe a bondage of not owning a home. So I decided I have to break that chain. Yes, and so far I can say going back to school and putting myself under construction of my home is my move, is what now is my beginning point of now moving on ahead. And also spiritually, I can say that this is part of answers to my prayer.
Vile tu tulianza kushare word of God na yeye, na saa hii kuna change kubwa sana. So naweza mwambia tu ashikilie hiyo imani na hiyo testimony yake itajenga wengi na italeta wengi kwa Mungu, kwa si rahisi, na kama Mungu amemwezesha atawezesha hata wengine.
As Clinton looks forward with stride, he is keen to mention that there is need for people to speak out when battling mental illnesses and, most importantly, develop a close relationship with God.
Most of the expectations from everyone, assuming that you've trained under the military, you've been through hardships, you've been through war, maybe like in Somalia. There are things that people expect you should be a strong person all round. But now you understand, at the end of the day, we are human. And anything that triggers a mental problem can affect anyone. And it is good to also speak out when you're going under some serious problems or situation or mental problem. It is okay to speak out. It is okay to share with somebody, although some of the time you tend to find it hard to trust anyone, to tell them that I have this problem that I'm going through, until it reaches a point of being a mental issue, is when now people realize this was serious. For me, it worked when I spoke to God, I can say that. So we may not get the best of results talking to somebody, but you should give everything to God and to speak to God, and you connect with this word, then definitely there's going to be a breakthrough.